So we can now see why Suella Braverman was so reluctant to admit in Parliament to the cost of her Rwanda scheme, Priti Patel's Rwanda scheme, and why the rhetoric and the verbal flourishes at the dispatch box were so much more important than answering questions in committee about how much this would cost, because now we know per migrant it's going to cost £63,000 more to ship them to Rwanda than it would be to keep them in the UK. So the ideology is hugely expensive. It's extraordinary, quite extraordinary. The potential savings are highly uncertain, and it's not clear that any of this will send a statement to anyone overseas, particularly somebody desperate, that the UK is not a place to seek refuge. I think people would have to be extremely politically savvy and reading the international press on a regular basis to understand what's going on in the UK. And most people aren't. Most people hear about the UK from the smugglers, from the traffickers, from the rumour mongers in their own country, not from reading the international media and forming their own opinion, because, you know, you have to have extremely good English, you have to have a very high level of education to be able to master the newspaper rubbish from another country. And frankly, it's beyond me for most of the time as well. So I find it really tough ploughing through newspapers in Greek, in Russian, in whatever other language, and I imagine most of the people trying to come to the UK will have not read the newspapers in the UK in English. And that's the only source of this information, because the slogans on posters are pointless, utterly pointless. They mean nothing. All they have to do is be contradicted by the smugglers. This whole thing is absurd. But there we are. That's Suella Braverman, where a slogan is more important than an economic reality.